You ever walk into a room, heart full, smile wide, and feel like you're invisible, like suddenly the people who once made you feel seen now treat you like you're just background noise? Let me tell you something. Being ignored isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a test of your strength. I've been there. We all have. There comes a point in life when the people you thought would always be there start to drift away, not out of malice, but because life simply took them in a different direction. As we grow, our responsibilities, interests, and goals evolve. The same is true for everyone around us. The friend who once called you every day may now be buried in work, family, or personal battles you know nothing about. Their silence may feel personal, but it rarely is. It's important to understand that human relationships are dynamic. The person who once matched your energy, your dreams, or your rhythm might now be walking a completely different path. That doesn't mean what you had wasn't real, it just means it served its purpose for that time in your lives. Growth doesn't always happen side by side. Sometimes people outgrow each other without conflict or blame. They simply grow in different directions. This shift can hurt, especially if you feel left behind. You might start questioning your worth or wondering what you did wrong. But here's the truth. People don't always walk away because of something you did. Sometimes they leave because they're trying to figure out who they are. Learning to let people go without resentment is one of the most powerful forms of maturity. It gives you peace, and more importantly, it creates space for new, more aligned connections to come into your life. Rather than clinging to the past, embrace the change. People will come and go, but the ones meant to stay will remain. Not because you chased them, but because you both chose to walk the same path at the same time. Let go with love, move forward with grace. Your journey is still unfolding, and it's beautiful even when it's quiet. Success has a strange way of making people react, often in ways you never anticipated. When you start achieving the goals you set for yourself, whether it's in your career, personal growth, or relationships, it can unintentionally trigger feelings of insecurity in others. This doesn't necessarily mean they dislike you or want to see you fail. In fact, they might even be rooting for you on the surface, but deep down, your success forces them to confront their own fears and doubts. The more you rise, the more they might feel like they're falling behind. Your achievements can magnify their perceived shortcomings or highlight areas of their life where they feel stuck. It's human nature to compare ourselves to others, and when someone else starts winning, it can create a subconscious sense of inadequacy. They may begin to question their own path or feel like their own efforts aren't good enough, and this can be uncomfortable. This feeling of insecurity can manifest in various ways. Perhaps they distance themselves from you, act indifferent, or even try to downplay your success. They may not even realize they're doing it. It's often a reflexive reaction to their own discomfort. Instead of celebrating your wins, they may feel threatened by them, as if your success somehow diminishes their own value. However, it's important to remember that this reaction is not your fault. It's simply a reflection of their own internal struggles. Your job isn't to dim your light to make others feel better. Instead, focus on being compassionate and understanding, but continue to shine. Real friends and supporters will eventually rise to the occasion and celebrate your success without feeling threatened. And if they don't, that's okay too. Your journey is yours alone to live and embrace. In life, there are individuals who are drawn to you not because of who you are or the bond you share, but because of what you can provide. These people thrive on what they can gain from you, whether it's material benefits, connections, or validation. They may seem like close friends or loyal colleagues, but their primary interest is rooted in their own agenda. Their presence in your life isn't based on genuine care. It's based on what they can extract from the relationship. This kind of opportunistic behavior often becomes most noticeable when the benefits you offer are no longer available. Suddenly, the person who seemed so eager to spend time with you, listen to your ideas, or share your successes disappears the moment you no longer provide what they want. They might only reach out when they need something, or when the situation aligns with their own objectives. When they no longer see a way to profit from the relationship, they can quickly fade into the background. It can be a painful realization when you begin to see this pattern, especially if you've invested emotional energy or trust into these people. The feeling of being used can hurt, leaving you questioning your value. But it's important to remember that their opportunism is not a reflection of your worth. Rather, it's a reflection of their inability to form authentic connections or be genuinely invested in others. Recognizing opportunistic behavior is an essential skill in building healthier relationships. While it may sting at first, it's a blessing in disguise. It gives you the clarity to focus on those who truly value you for who you are, not just for what you can give. When you stop allowing opportunistic people into your life, you create space for genuine, meaningful connections. When you begin to grow, whether it's personally, professionally, or emotionally, not everyone around you will celebrate that growth. In fact, for some, your progress can feel like a threat. This is especially true if the people in your life are stagnant or struggling to move forward themselves. Your growth serves as a mirror to their own limitations, forcing them to confront parts of themselves they may not be ready to face. It's uncomfortable to see someone pushing past the boundaries that they themselves haven't yet crossed. As you evolve, you might notice that certain people who were once supportive or closely connected to you begin to distance themselves. At first, it might be subtle, more comments, less interaction, or an underlying sense of tension. But over time, it becomes more apparent. Your success, ambition, and drive highlight the gap between where they are and where you're heading, and instead of feeling inspired by your journey, they may feel insecure or threatened. This response isn't necessarily out of ill will. Often, it's rooted in envy, fear, or feelings of inadequacy. Watching someone else grow can bring up questions like, why am I not moving forward? What did I do wrong? The more you succeed, the more it may cause others to feel like they're falling behind or being left out of the race entirely. Rather than join you on your path, they may choose to step away, even if it's subconsciously. While this can be painful, it's also a sign that you're on the right track. Growth isn't just about advancing in your own life, it's about challenging the status quo and shifting perspectives. Those who choose to stay by your side through this process will be the ones who genuinely support and understand your journey. Others may fall away, but that's part of the natural progression of growth. It weeds out the ones who were never meant to walk the path with you. Miscommunication is one of the most powerful forces that can slowly, and sometimes permanently, create distance between people. It's often subtle and can happen in the smallest moments: a text left unanswered, an assumption made without clarification, or a conversation where the true meaning is lost in translation. In the chaos of daily life, it's easy for words to get misconstrued or for feelings to be left unspoken. When that happens, misunderstandings build, and what was once a strong connection begins to fray. What makes miscommunication particularly tricky is that it's not always obvious. Sometimes it starts with something as simple as a tone that wasn't meant to be harsh or a message that wasn't fully understood. Other times, people simply don't take the time to express themselves clearly. Over time, these small moments compound and create an invisible barrier, making it harder to reach out or clear the air. As time passes, the silence that follows miscommunication can feel more uncomfortable. People start to pull away, not because they want to, but because they're unsure of how to address the tension or the misunderstanding. What could have been resolved with a simple conversation now becomes a bigger issue because both parties avoid confronting it, thinking that addressing the problem might only make things worse. The key to overcoming miscommunication is to remember that clarity and openness are essential. Never assume that the other person understands your intentions, and don't be afraid to ask questions when something feels off. Taking the time to listen, clarify, and express your true feelings can make all the difference in maintaining healthy relationships. If you don't take the step to clear the air, the distance between you and others will only grow, fueled by the unspoken words that remain between you. When you begin to shine, whether it's through your confidence, achievements, or personal growth, your light can unintentionally highlight the darker parts of others. This isn't something you do on purpose, but rather a natural consequence of the contrast between your energy and theirs. Just as light exposes shadows, your radiance can draw attention to the areas where others feel insecure or unaccomplished. People who have not yet embraced their own potential may feel uncomfortable or even threatened by your growth. They might begin to feel inadequate, or their own shortcomings become glaringly obvious in comparison to the path you're on. This discomfort often manifests in subtle ways, like passive-aggressive comments, avoidance, or distancing themselves from you. Your success, your joy, your journey, these things are a mirror that reflects back what they might not be ready to confront within themselves. It's easy to take this behavior personally. You might feel rejected or misunderstood, questioning why those who once supported you now seem distant or cold. But it's important to recognize that their reaction isn't a reflection of your value. Rather, it's a sign that they are struggling with their own fears, limitations, or doubts. Your light isn't to blame for their shadows. It simply illuminates what was already there. The key is not to dim your light to make others more comfortable. Shine even brighter. Your light has the potential to inspire those who are ready to face their own shadows and grow from them. For those who choose to retreat into the darkness, it's a reminder that their journey is theirs to navigate, and you cannot shrink yourself to fit their comfort zone. By staying true to your light, you give others the courage to either rise to meet it or step aside, making space for those who will celebrate your growth. So what do you do when people suddenly start ignoring you? You keep showing up, you walk louder, laugh harder, dream bigger, because the ones who ignore you today might just be the ones who applaud you tomorrow. Don't chase, attract, don't break, build, and above all, don't shrink to fit someone else's comfort zone. Stay tall, stay true, and stay unstoppable.